A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is the next Game of Thrones spin-off in the works, and it has the opportunity to build on an already established retcon. Audiences currently await both ACOT Season 1 and House of the Dragon Season 3, which are currently planned for 2026 releases on HBO and HBO Max. The HBO adaptations are based on George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire novels and their prequel books, but the numerous changes have allowed them to take on a life of their own. As is the case with many cinematic franchises, HBO's Game of Thrones universe has already found ways to connect its narratives, despite them occurring centuries apart. The most significant of these changes was the concept of Aegon's Dream, introduced in House of the Dragon Season 1. This idea suggests that Aegon the Conqueror envisioned the Long Night and took control of Westeros so the Targaryen dynasty and its dragons would be there to defend Westeros from the White Walkers. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is crucial for revealing how Aegon's dream is passed down after HOTD. Will the dream survive the dance? If so, for how long? Given that A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is about halfway between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones on the timeline, it would make sense if HBO continued to explore how Aegon's dream was passed down. This presumes that it was lost with Aerys II or Rhaegar, rather than during the madness of the Dance of the Dragons. Despite Aegon's dream being George R.R. Martin's idea, it wasn't part of the novels. It's worth noting that neither Rhaenyra nor Aegon II wins the Dance of the Dragons. It's Aegon III, Rhaenyra's son, who ends up on the Iron Throne after both competitors have died, so the question becomes whether Rhaenyra finds a way to pass down the information in time. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms might prioritize Sir Duncan the Tall and Prince Aegon, Targaryen, rather than King's Landing politics. However, the series will incorporate more characters from the Targaryen nobility. It will be fascinating to see whether they know about Aegon's dream, how they've passed it along, and whether they're prioritizing it. This upcoming prequel may not be a succession story to the degree of House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones, but the matter of succession is always critical when the Targaryens are involved. Plenty of Targaryen heirs die for Aegon to eventually become king, so it makes sense that Aegon's dream would be part of this shuffle. I will say, there's still a significant possibility that the Dance of the Dragons will end with this knowledge dying out, which could link thematically to what the series is about. Anything is possible, though, it just depends on how much HBO wants to build connective tissue between its Game of Thrones spin-off shows. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Targaryens can expand on Aegon's prophecy through new dragon dreams. Daeron the Drunken can dream up some new ideas. Close-up of Balerion being flown by Aegon the Conqueror in the world of ice and fire art. From Daenerys the Dreamer to Aegon the Conqueror, dragon dreams play a pivotal role in the shaping of Westeros and the Targaryen dynasty. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms will importantly incorporate the dragon dreamer Daeron the Drunken, son of King Maker I Targaryen. This sets up a clean opportunity to tie in Daeron's prophecies to Aegon's dream. In The Hedge Knight, Daeron tells Sir Duncan the Tall about his vision of a red dragon falling upon Duncan, who could come out from underneath it alive, only to find the dragon dead. This turns out to be a metaphor for the events of the novella. Given that this is one of the more on-the-nose dream prophecies George R.R. Martin writes, it might be enjoyable to bolster it with some fresh material for audiences to theorize about. The Ashford tournament is a pivotal moment that alters the course of Westeros history, so it makes sense that Daeron would see other, equally critical visions. Aegon's dream could end up completely changing the tragedy of Summerhall's background. Did Aegon try to resurrect dragons to save Westeros? Summerhall burning while people look on in A Song of Ice and Fire artwork by Mark Simonetti. The tragedy of Summerhall is an event that occurs much later in the story, following the Dunk and Egg novels, that claims the lives of Sir Duncan the Tall and Aegon V, among others. Summerhall was a pleasure palace for House Targaryen, which was lit ablaze in an event 16 years after Aegon V became king. Though the precise circumstances of the tragedy of Summerhall's cause remain vague in George R.R. Martin's books, it's often believed that the event transpired because of Aegon trying to bring dragons back, which itself was influenced by a dream Daeron had told him about when he was younger. If Daeron tells Duncan Egg about his dreams early in the series, we could see Egg later become king and die trying to bring back dragons in order to defend the realm. Egg is one of the better Targaryen kings, and the idea that he would accidentally sacrifice himself trying to do something to protect the Seven Kingdoms fits. It's to be seen whether a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms would even progress that far into his story, but it could be another fascinating way to tie Aegon's dream into pivotal Targaryen events. This would, once again, demonstrate how prophecy leads to self-destruction and chaos, even if the visions are partially true.